Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be diving in again.
So this is where we take the stuff you send us. Could be articles, notes, research, sometimes even lyrics, like today, and we really, well, deep dive into it.
Yeah, we unpack it all, pull out the key insights, the core ideas, basically try to get to the heart of what the material is telling us.
It's about giving you that understanding, cutting through the noise straight from the sources you provide.
Helping you connect the dots, maybe find things you didn't see at first glance.
And for this deep dive, we've got something pretty unique. You've sent over a whole collection of transcript excerpts. These are from various tracks across Dozakru albums.
Right, and these don't feel like just, random songs. They seem very intentional. We're kind of calling them image tracks.
Image tracks, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they feel specifically designed to project the Dozakru's identity, their whole worldview, exactly how they want it presented.
It's like getting a direct look at their own self-narrative, their ethos laid out in lyrics. So our job today is to go through these tracks, figure out the main messages, spot the themes that keep popping up.
And sort of piece together the overall picture the Dozakru is painting of themselves.
Exactly. And I mean, it hits you right away. These sources are just dripping with self-confidence. There's this hugely celebratory vibe about themselves, their group, their community.
Oh, absolutely. And a real sense of power. It's undeniable in the language they use.
So we're going to explore that, sticking strictly to what these tracks, these transcript excerpts from YouTube are telling us, using their own words.
It should be fascinating. Let's jump in.
Let's do it.
Okay, so digging into the material, probably the first thing that really stands out, a kind of foundational theme, is this intense focus on being authentic, on being real.
Yeah, and staying true to themselves and where they come from specifically, like the city environment.
It feels like a core value for them.
It's stated so directly in that track, right near the start, they just lay it out. Wir stehen für Authentizität. Kein Maskenspiel, was du siehst, ist die Realität.
We stand for authenticity, no mask play, what you see is reality. That's pretty unambiguous.
It really is. It's like their opening statement. No pretense, no facade, this is us, take it or leave it. That Maskenspiel contrast is key. They're defining themselves against anything fake.
And it feels like this authenticity is also what sets them apart, in their view.
Yeah, in the same track, there's that bit, IMIOBRs and Deegan switching the new. The transcript's a bit fuzzy, but it seems to suggest they're like the only ones occupying this space, maybe between the norms.
Or between other groups, something that highlights their uniqueness.
Exactly. Their realness puts them in their own lane, outside the usual boxes. They're not trying to blend in.
And this authenticity isn't just an abstract idea, is it? It's tied very strongly to their environment.
Oh, completely. The city, Berlin specifically, isn't just a backdrop. It's presented as their territory, their foundation, their life force almost.
You see that really clearly in das EU Imperium.
Right. Hier wie in den Straßen von Berlin, wir regieren die City absolutiv.
Here, as in the streets of Berlin, we rule the city so deep. Regieren die City, rule the city. That's a bold claim.
It's not just we live here, it's we run this place, and the connection is deep, ingrained, not superficial. It's a statement of dominance tied to place.
And Bodensatz picks up that thread too, right? With the concrete in the streets.
Yeah. Berlin beton die Straßen vollen ein Kollektiv, keiner bleibt Platz. Berlin concrete, that gives you the hardness, the reality.
And die Straßen voller in K, probably nails. Streets full of nails.
That's the likely reading, yeah. It paints this picture of a tough environment, maybe dangerous, definitely not easy, but it's their place.
It's where their collective exists. And importantly, keiner bleibt blass. Nobody stays pale, nobody fades out.
Right. They're visible, vibrant, making an impact within that gritty reality. They're not overwhelmed by it. They thrive in it.
That image, streets full of nails, is really striking. It suggests that their strength, their authenticity, is forged in hardship.
Precisely. And then you have that line in THNX Live that connects it all so well. The streets are our home, and stages our heart.
Ah, yeah. That links the raw reality, the origin, directly to their art, their passion. Home is the foundation. The stage is the expression.
Beautifully put. And how they navigate this world, both the streets and their creative space, feels very internal, doesn't it? Like in Watt again.
The labyrinth der Sounds.
Exactly. Fragen uns durch der Was ist unser Herzschlag Labyrinth der Sounds. They find their way through this complex maze of sounds, guided by their own Herzschlag, their heartbeat.
Not by trends, not by what others are doing. It comes from their core.
Which, again, circles back to that authenticity rooted in their urban reality. It's intuitive, self-guided.
And the language they use to describe their art itself,
Yeah.
it's not just descriptive, it's like visceral, almost mythical sometimes.
Totally. Think about Ramesh Schneiden Lesser die durch Wände splits from Bodensatz.
Rhymes cut like knives that split through walls. Wow.
Yeah, their words aren't just communication. They're portrayed as tools, even weapons, capable of breaking things down, making an impact.
And then the dragon imagery.
Flammen aus dem Molldrachen spucken Gift. Flames from the mouth, dragons spit poison. That's incredibly potent.
It elevates their lyrics to something almost elemental, primal, powerful, and maybe even a bit dangerous.
Tied right into that raw, authentic energy we were talking about. It's all interconnected.
Okay, so let's pull this together. We have this insistence on authenticity, the deep roots in Berlin's tough streets, this almost mythical power attached to their words. What does all this tell us about how the Doza crew sees itself? What's the foundation they're building on?
I think it tells us they see themselves as intrinsically part of their environment, forged by it. Their power, their identity isn't something they put on. It grows directly out of that lived reality.
So rejecting the mask play isn't just about honesty.
No, it's more fundamental. It's like they're saying their strength lies in being unvarnished and being real. Their authenticity is the source code for their confidence, their impact.
They're powerful because they're real, because they navigate those streets full of nails.
Exactly. They wear that reality like armor, not like a burden. It's the bedrock.
It gives their confidence a tangible source. It's earned, not just declared.
Absolutely. And they frame it exactly that way.
Okay, so moving on from that individual authenticity
Yeah.
rooted in the city, the sources just constantly emphasize the collective, the crew.
Oh, it's overwhelming. This isn't just background noise. It feels like the central theme, das Kollektiv.
It's presented as more than just a group, right? Like a single entity, a unified force.
Definitely. The language is consistently about unity, shared strength, a kind of group spirit. Look at Doza Kollekt.
Das Kadei, in denen der Staat sich unser verbunden Herzen und Stimmen, und der Stil unser Ruf wiederhaut.
So the collective has, what, connected hearts within the city, united voices, its reputation echoes. Yeah, it's portrayed as this living thing, pulsing with the city's energy, and incredibly strong because of that unity.
There's that line, gemeinsam sind wir, keine Macht kann Unsinn in ein wehren.
Together we are such that no power can harm us, united. That's a direct claim of invincibility through unity, an impenetrable shield.
And it's not just about defense, is it? There's a sense of purpose,
Yeah,
of destiny almost.
for sure. That quote from Doza Krill is amazing.
Mit der Welt als Bühne, wo die Freiheit einfach ist und das Kollektiv, wir feiern alle Leute. Wir sind Fähre für die Ewigkeit. Mit jedem Herzschlag steigen wir Namen Kollektiv ST. Wir sind bereit, Diekel zu tragen. Gemeinsam schreiben wir die Geschichte.
Whoa, okay, unpack that. The world's their stage. Freedom ignites there.
Yeah.
United for eternity.
Für die Ewigkeit.
Yeah.
And every individual heartbeat elevates the name of the collective. They're ready to carry the torch, literally write history together.
That elevates the group to something.
Yeah.
Well, historic, eternal.
It really does. And you see similar ideas in Doza Cruz. Zusammen sind wir wie ewiger Band. Together we are strong like an eternal bond. And the image of standing together.
Schulter an Schulter die Herzen F gekleidet. Egal wie der Weg, wir sind bereit zu, wird niemals untergehen. Shoulder to shoulder.
Hearts may be armored or dressed, pfaff gekleidet, ready for any path, however rough.
And the true will never go under, never perish. It's a promise of resilience.
It is. And then that simple, powerful line from Teach and X Live, gemeinsam stark, das muss einfach sein.
Strong together it simply must be. Like it's a law of nature for them.
Exactly. Strength is collective. It's not optional. It's fundamental to their being.
What about that idea that the collective is more than just the people in it?
Right, that's fascinating too. Mehr nur ein Name sind uns Zeitsche mit jedem Mann, die K ist Kollektiv, Doza Kollekt. It's more than just a name. It includes the shared time, the energy from every man. It's dynamic.
And its spirit rises.
Ja, steigt auf Herzen der Stadt wie zum Himmelsschlau. It rises from the city's heart towards the blue sky, almost like a spiritual energy powered by the group and its connection to place.
So it's this entity with its own life force, transcending the individuals.
That's the feeling you get. And crucially, this collective identity isn't just inward-looking. They seem to actively extend it outwards, to their audience.
Ah, yes, the community aspect, the gratitude.
It's a huge piece. They don't just celebrate themselves, they celebrate with their supporters. Wir feiern euch alle Leute unser Triumph und Herz dieser Stadt, Wolken hinaus vor uns Fröms.
Doza Kollekt.
We celebrate all you people. their triumph is shared.
Exactly. And for you too makes it even more direct.
Das ist für euch, für die ganze Crew und du gemeinsam immer, die Crew sind dabei.
This is for you, for the whole crew, and you. Directly addressing the listener as part of it all.
Yeah, you are part of the we who are always together. And the thanks are explicit too.
Like in THNX. Danke Jungs für die Freundschaft, die uns befreit ein Jahr, das vereint durch alle Höhen und Tiefen, die Dosar-Crew, die nie wird versiegen.
Thanks, guys, for the friendship that frees us. That's primarily internal, about the crew's bond, which will never run dry. But the feeling carries outwards.
Especially with Danke euch allen, die uns plastik unterstützen
From THNX Live. Thanks to all of you who constantly support us. That's unmistakably to the audience.
And they don't just thank them. They define their role. This is key. In Moins, they call the crew and the listeners the real heroes.
The listeners are heroes.
Yeah. And they say the listeners fuel their engine. Your clicks, your comments, that engagement isn't passive. It's the fuel for their journey.
Wow, okay. So thinking about all this collective stuff, how does it really shape their whole identity in these tracks? What are the standout examples of that unity and strength? And how does it manage to wrap the audience into that same feeling?
I mean, the collective is their identity. It's the lens through everything else is viewed. Every claim of strength, every goal, it's all rooted in gemeinsam, together.
So lines like, gemeinsam sind wir keine Machtkanonsen, vereint für die Ewigkeit, Schulter an Schulter. They're not just lines, they're like articles of faith. They find incredible strength, exponential strength in that unity. And by saying to the audience, you're part of this crew, you're heroes, you fuel us.
They basically dissolve the boundary.
Exactly, it becomes a shared story. Gemeinsam durch die Zeit die Geschichte geschrieben, writing history together. The listener becomes an active participant, essential to the collective's power and its future.
It turns it from a performance for people into an experience with people.
Precisely. You're not just watching, you're part of the engine, part of the story.
Okay, so we have this powerful, rooted, unified collective. But they're not just sitting still, right? The sources also scream future and innovation.
Oh, absolutely. They position themselves way ahead of the curve, actively breaking molds. This comes through really strong in tracks like Greets and Moins.
We rock Cosby, breaking barriers down, redefine sound. That's pretty direct.
Yeah, they're not just making music, they're changing the game, dismantling limitations, redefining the sound itself. It's a disruptive mission.
And they definitely contrast themselves with others who they see as stuck.
Very much so. You clings in the past like it's some kind of crown, or they can't comprehend, can't F with the flow, too scared to evolve, so you stuck in one place.
It's quite dismissive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyone seen as conventional is basically left behind in their narrative.
It is. They draw a sharp line. We're Bing, you are I here taking the Rick, and you sit there salty, but you never been missed. This alien groove is foreign to you.
So they're taking risks, pushing forward while others are just sitting there, salty. And their groove is alien, foreign.
Yeah, they embrace being different, even strange to outsiders. They explicitly call it future alien music in Moins.
Future alien music. That really says it all about their self-image, doesn't it? Something new, maybe challenging to grasp immediately.
And they stress that the evolution continues, the sound expands, it's constant forward motion, not static.
And again, contrasting with the norm. They clean the comfort, the predictable and tame, while we shapeshift rhythm, igniting the flame.
Right. Others want safety, predictability. Doza Crew, in their own words, are dynamic, changing form, shapeshift rhythm, and starting things, igniting the flame. It's revolutionary language.
And this isn't just about sound, it's about actually building something.
Seems like it. We like years ahead, futuristic waves, and we building the future be so bizarre.
Building a future that might even be bizarre. They're not aiming for mainstream acceptance necessarily.
It doesn't sound like it. They're constructing their future on their terms. And even milestones aren't endpoints. Future alien music year one in the books, and the sound's just begun.
So even year one is just the start. The evolution is ongoing.
Always. And it might involve struggle. Next shot, 12 wounds, bunk the ditches, climb and crawl. Progress isn't easy. It involves effort, overcoming things. But the direction is always forward.
And that forward drive means breaking things down, like barriers, limitations.
Hier springen Ketten, jede Zeile, jeder Beat, Bodensatz. We break chains with every line, every beat. Their art is the tool for liberation.
And wir reißen die fest und lassen Herzen für uns spinnen, Doza Crew. tearing down fortresses, letting hearts spin for them.
Exactly. Dismantling constraints, freeing up energy, and again, tied to the collective. Wir sprengen die Grenzen sind niemals allein, THNX Live. We break the borders, we are never alone. Their power to innovate comes from their unity.
Okay, so if you had to pick the phrases that really capture this innovator image, this future alien music vibe, what would they be?
Oh, definitely breaking barriers down, redefine sound, future alien music, evolution continues, shape-shift rhythm, igniting the flame. Those really encapsulate it.
And how do they use that contrast with others strategically? What does all this focus on breaking boundaries and evolving tell us about their whole creative approach?
Well, the contrast is clearly to emphasize their own dynamism, their progressiveness. By painting others as stuck or scared, they make themselves look even more cutting edge. It suggests their creative process is all about pushing, experimenting, rejecting anything static. Their goal seems bigger than just making songs. It feels like they genuinely see themselves as redefining the artistic space, leading the way into a new, maybe bizarre future.
It's a hugely ambitious self-narrative. They're not just participating. They believe they're setting the agenda.
Absolutely. A confident claim to leadership and musical evolution.
Which leads us right into the next big theme, just the sheer assertion of strength, power, and impact. These tracks radiate dominance.
They really do. The language is forceful, almost aggressive sometimes. Starke Arm, muskular nieder, mit dem System B zusammen, Krach und Ftatz.
Strong arms, muscled, taking down the system with a crash. That's intense.
It's very physical imagery directed against established structures. And as we already talked about, you regieren die City. That's pure assertion of control.
And this power, again, comes back to the collective.
Always. Gemeinsam sind wir keine Macht kann uns. Unity equals strength, resistance to harm. And wir sind die Macht. Wir heben uns die Sterne über uns klar. Dozaku.
Not just having power, but being the power. We are the power. And using it to rise, reach for the stars.
Connects their power directly to their ambition and success. And there's this feeling of being unstoppable.
Der Aufstieg ist, los uns alle Leute die Geschichte weh, die Unze durch die Flammen ins gehen wir an den Hand, dosa crew.
Their rise is continuous, guided through fire by their story.
Something like that. They're moving upwards relentlessly. And the metaphors for this unstoppable nature are intense.
Like the tsunami.
Exactly. Unaufhaltsam wie Tsunami. It's a Kollektiv. That's Kollektiv. Unstoppable like a tsunami. That's not just strong. It's an overwhelming, unavoidable natural force.
Now, what about that slightly confusing line? Allein ist stark zusammen und zerbrechlich. Alone, strong, together, and fragile. How does that fit? Yeah, that one stands out because it seems to contradict almost everything else. Given the sheer volume of lines emphasizing collective unbreakability, keine Macht kann uns und wird niemals untergehen. Even Unbesiegbarkeit, invincibility, mentioned in Doza Crew. It feels much more likely that Zerbrechlich here is either a transcription issue, a deliberate ironic twist, or contextually means the opposite, like unbreakable when together.
So the overwhelming message from the sources points towards collective invincibility.
I really think so. It aligns perfectly with the rest of their self-portrayal as this unified, unstoppable entity, and this power has real effects. Die Mauern, die uns grenzen, gaben jetzt in der Tat keinen Schritt zurück, nur nach vorn durch dick und de Dosacru.
The walls that limited them are gone. They're only moving forward.
Right. Actively dismantling boundaries. And their music itself is part of this force. Kick, click, boom. Der Beat der Präzision verspricht. Bodensatz.
The beat has precision. It hits like a boom.
Exactly. It's impactful. And that impact creates these intense experiences for the listener.
Feier als gäb's kein Morgen. Die Zeit bleibt stehen. Die Party ein Feuer, das niemals erlischt. Einheit.
Celebrating like there's no tomorrow, time stops, the party's an unquenchable fire. That's the effect of their power on the audience.
That's how they present it.
So, thinking about these metaphors, the military ones like maybe Schützengraben, trench, the natural disaster like tsunami, how do they use these to convey power?
They use them to signify overwhelming, irresistible force. A trench might imply resilience, holding ground, while a tsunami is about unstoppable advance. They're not subtle metaphors.
And the actions attributed to this power, sprengen Ketten, regieren die City.
These show the power isn't passive, it's active. It breaks things. Sprengenketten, breaking chains, Reisen die Fest, tearing down fortifications. It asserts control, regieren die City.
And how does this whole theme of strength reinforce the other ideas we've discussed, like the collective identity and breaking barriers? It's like the engine driving it all. The collective unity isn't just nice, it creates this unbreakable strength. Keine Macht kann uns. That strength is what allows them to Ketten, to break barriers, to innovate and build the future. It all feeds into each other.
So authenticity fuels the collective. The collective generates power, and the power enables innovation and impact.
That seems to be the narrative they're building, a grounded reality leading to unbreakable unity, generating immense power, which fuels their relentless forward movement and boundary breaking. They present themselves as this dominant, unstoppable force, and they clearly celebrate that image.
It's a very forceful self-image, defined by impact and total self-belief.
Yeah, projecting total control and momentum.
And if you want that distilled, that track for you is something else. It's just a list, a flood of positive adjectives.
It really is like a concentrated blast of their self-image. The sheer number and intensity of the words is a statement in itself.
Let's just rattle some off again. Explosiv, massiv, intensiv, harmonisch, dynamisch, elektrisch, magnetisch, positiv, superlativ ist kreativ, dynamisch, charismatisch, gigantisch, stabilo, OP. This keeps going.
Akustisch ist dich leistisch, magnetisch, meitisch und ja, and then the next wave. Leg immer stark, immer faire inspirieren, motivieren, revolutionär, immer mehr, sonärer, spektakulär, crew, immer neu, immer mehr kreativ, innovativ, progressiv.
You hear words repeating too, right? Intensiv, dynamisch, creativ, positiv, stark.
Absolutely. They hammer home those key concepts, and you can definitely group them.
Yeah, there's energy words, explosive, dynamisch, sound words, akustisch, magnetisch, character words, positive, fair, inspirierend, innovation words, creative, innovative, revolutionaire.
And notice how perfectly they map onto the themes we've already pulled out. Explosive, dynamic, revolutionary. That's the sound of breaking barriers. Stark, massive, gigantish. That's the collective power, the tsunami force. Creative, innovative. That's the futurism.
So it's not just random praise. It's like a summary coded in adjectives.
Exactly. It's their whole identity compressed into this high-energy burst.
What's the overall effect of doing that? Just hitting the listener with that wall of positive descriptors? What feeling are they trying to create?
I think the effect is meant to be overwhelming, undeniable. It projects immense energy, competence on all fronts, a vibrant, unavoidable presence. It's not subtle at all.
It's like their ultimate self-portrait, painted in the boldest colors possible.
Precisely. It leaves zero doubt about how they see themselves and how they want you to see them. It's a distillation of the authenticity, the collective power, the futurism, the impact, all rolled into one celebratory statement.
A very confident, unambiguous self-declaration.
It really is. Pure identity assertion through language.
Okay, and as we sort of touched on before, this self-celebration isn't just kept internally. There's that consistent thread of connecting with and thanking the listener, the community.
Yes, and that adds such a crucial layer. Even when they sound confrontational, like, you stuck on the ground while we, years ahead, they always seem to circle back to valuing the audience.
That Moyns quote is really warm, isn't it?
Incredibly. Every single listener who tuned into our stream, who shared the vision, who lived the Ellie, dream, your clicks and your comments, the fuel in our ride for the journey together, we hold you with pride.
It's more than just thanks for listening. It's acknowledging, sharing the vision, living the dream.
And calling their engagement the fuel in our ride. That's powerful. The audience isn't passive, they're actively powering the journey.
And for you too gets really specific, naming names. Das ist für euch die wie ein Tor die Hand. So Chos und so Leo Jonas. Und das ist für euch der gemeinsame.
Yeah, those shout-outs make the connection real, tangible. It extends that idea of crew beyond just the performers.
And the direct thanks keep coming. Ein Hoch auf die Zeit, danke Jungs für die Freundschaft, die uns befreit in THNX.
Which is mainly internal, celebrating their own bond.
But it sets a grateful tone, amplified by Danke euch allen, die uns Plastik unterstützen in THNX Live. And attributing strength to that support. Eure Unterstützung, sie macht stark und stark.
Your support makes us strong and strong. It's a direct causal link. Your support makes them powerful.
So the relationship isn't artist-fan, it's presented as more of a partnership.
Absolutely. Gemeinsam durch die Zeit die Geschichte geschrieben in der Doza Crew. Da sind wir wirklich verbunden. Writing history together, truly connected, and remember, Doza Crew includes the audience in their definition.
And they share the wins, the celebrations.
Consistently. Wir feiern euch alle Leute. That keeps popping up. Celebrating ein Jahr voller Träume und voller Lachen und Licht, or you won in the books. These aren't just their milestones. They're presented as shared victories with the community.
So putting it all together, how do these tracks frame that artist-audience relationship? What does it really mean when they call listener engagement the fuel? And how does all this gratitude and shared journey stuff actually enhance that super confident, powerful image they project?
I think it frames the relationship as essential, symbiotic. The audience isn't just receiving, they're contributing vital energy. Calling engagement fuel makes the listener indispensable to the crew's progress. It turns the whole thing into a shared mission.
So the gratitude isn't just politeness.
No, it's acknowledging a crucial partnership. And instead of undermining their confidence, it actually deepens it. It shows their power isn't just isolated strength, it's rooted in and amplified by community connection. It adds warmth, inclusivity, a sense of shared purpose to their powerful image.
It makes their strength feel more grounded, more real, maybe.
Exactly. It transforms "we are powerful" into "we are powerful together with you." It makes the celebration communal, not just self-congratulatory.
Creates a sense of belonging for the listener. Makes you feel invested.
Precisely. The collective embrace extends outwards, becoming a source of mutual strength.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this up. Synthesizing everything we've pulled from these Doza Crew image tracks,
Yeah.
what's the final picture?
It's a really vivid and consistent self-portrait. It starts with that bedrock of authenticity, rooted in the tough reality of the city of Berlin.
Then built on top of that is the immense power and unity of the collective. Unbreakable dynamic.
Driven by this relentless, innovative spirit, always pushing towards the future, seeing ourselves as pioneers, maybe even creating alien music.
And all of this, the authenticity, the collective strength, the futurism, creates this incredibly potent, dominant presence.
Which they actively share and celebrate with their community, acknowledging that the audience, the listeners, are the essential fuel for their ongoing journey.
And as we said right at the start, the tone across all these sources is just exceptionally self-confident, celebratory, filled with this sense of purpose and power.
Yeah, the material itself is overwhelmingly positive about the crew, focused on praising their strengths and vision, which is exactly what we focused on analyzing here, how they present themselves in these tracks.
So understanding these core messages, this narrative they've crafted, really gives you, the listener, a deep insight into the ethos driving Doza Crew's music, straight from their own words.
It's like a guided tour of their worldview, as presented in these specific image tracks.
A very compelling and self-assured tour, it has to be said.
It's a powerful statement of identity.
So thinking about all of it, the roots, the collective, the future focus, that vital connection with you, the listener, the Doza Crew, in these tracks clearly portrays their journey as unstoppable, an evolution powered by unity and fueled by your engagement.
Right.
So maybe a final thought to take away. What does it really signify when a group defines itself so intensely through collective power, through this unwavering self-belief, and through a future vision that explicitly includes the audience as essential energy? And if that's the mindset, that powerful self-definition we see in these tracks, how might that inevitably shape what comes next? The sound, the message, the impact of future Doza Crew music.
Something to ponder as you listen.
Definitely. Well, we hope this deep dive gave you some valuable perspective. We'll be back soon with another one.
Until then,